Jedi.
All right. So, first nominee for this week is Marshall Commander Cody, with Gideon is easily one of the best original villains in Star Wars currently. Easily one of the best original villains in Star Wars currently.
What does that mean, original villains? Does it mean that he's an almost direct rip-off of Darth Vader?
I honestly don't know, because I really don't understand the tweet. There's so much wrong with it.
I can't think of one that's worse.
I can't think of one that's worse either.
Like, legitimately, like, even out of the Disney sequels, like, like Snoke is better than Gideon. Gideon's a moron. And he just comes in, and the speeches that he gives are just so ridiculous. Like, Esposito should be embarrassed.
Yeah,
they've literally just turned around and said, "I need you to come in and basically act like Gus Fring." And he's like, "Do I have to do it again?"
Yeah,
he's like,
but dressed like Vader.
Yeah, but dressed like Vader. He's like, "Checks cleared. Yeah, okay, all right, let's go."
Yeah. So that is nominating.
Where you just you open your eyes really wide.
I'm still racking my brain trying to think of a worse villain. I can't.
Reva.
Reva was a hero.
Yeah, like
from a certain point of view.
She didn't kill Luke, so therefore she's the bestest ever.
She's a hero. Yeah.
Hero. I didn't
anyway,
she's no longer a villain.
Moving right along, that is nominee number 1. Nominee number 2, this is one that Greg sent me, so we'll get Greg to read this one. From good old Dan, he gets another nomination. Go for it, Greg.
The sequel trilogy has the same degree of separation from George Lucas as the old expanded universe does.
This is them trying to justify it. This is them trying to say, like, the EU was never canon, and So I will also point out, so this person is actually agreeing that the sequels are disconnected from George's Star Wars?
They're like, well, I mean, it's just factually incorrect. Like, Lucas he was in charge of Lucasfilm, and
yeah, and also Lucas actually paid the writers of the EU, unlike Disney, who hasn't paid anyone yet.
That's true.
And George Lucas had nothing to do with the sequel trilogy whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how you can even make that claim.
Yeah,
that's why I sent it to you. I'm just like how stretched do you have to be? Like, at the very least, you could make the argument. It's like, even if Lucas never had a single thing to do with the expanded universe, he owned the company that made it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't own the company that made the sequel trilogy.
Correct.
So if you want to go way back, pull all the way back and take the most very basic thing, be like, it fails.
Yep. When I read it, like when you sent it to me and I read it, I was like, really, we're going down that line now. Okay. That's incredible. Incredible. But like the fact that it has the same degree of separation from the old EU to George Lucas's Star Wars. But hang on, these people say that the EU was never canon. So does that mean that it's got the same, like the sequels have the same separation as the old expanded universe does? Like it's never canon? Like there's so much about this tweet that really just like, dude, I don't think you really know what you're actually saying here. You're actually throwing the sequels under the bus based on your understanding of what the expanded universe was.
Well, I mean, it's what the Disney Star Wars lovers always do.
Yeah.
Is they just try and deflect towards the prequels or the EU and never try and like they'll never actually refute the arguments against what they did in the sequel trilogies.
I know. Crazy, isn't it? All right, so that's nominee number 2. Thank you, Greg. Grant, can you read this one for us from Sequels Rule? Nominee number 3.
I love how she's able to overcome her struggles with self-doubt. She spends TLJ trying to pass on the Skywalker saber to the literal Skywalker she thinks it's worthy before realizing it was always meant for her. She was the Skywalker.
She was the Skywalker.
She's
constantly trying to pass the Skywalker saber onto Skywalkers, and none of them want to take it. So she's going to take it, and she's going to be the Skywalker that she's going to pass that saber to.
That actually has a better storyline plot through than the actual whole trilogy. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Again, it's just like unbelievably factually like wrong. She spends.
Try and give it to Kylo Ren. When did she try and give it to Kylo Ren? She literally fought him so he wouldn't get it.
And she spends a piece of the movie trying to give Luke back his lightsaber.
Yeah.
To get him involved in the fight because she cares about the fight, not becoming a Skywalker.
And did she ever try and give the saber to Leia?
I mean, that's a real kick in the teeth. Like, shouldn't she be like Morgana or something? Like, Leia was the one that actually trained her.
Yeah.
Did stuff with her. Like, I want the famous name. I want the fact that.
Who are these fucking people?
Why does she like? In order to like her as a character, why does she have to be a Skywalker in the first place? Like, why can't
that's
she
a
just
red
be
flag in itself.
Why can't she just be a different great Jedi?
Yep. So anyway, that's nominated.
Who was a Palpatine?
Yeah.
She's already from a strong line. Like.
So that's nominee number 3. And then nominee number 4 is the one that you guys selected earlier. One of the greatest Star Wars stories ever told is this scene from the Prison Break episode of Andor.
I did not say gray.
Great.
You
said great. So there are your 4 nominees. You've got Marshal Commander Cody. You've got Dan in there. You've got Sequels Rule. And you've got Star Wars Holocron. Let me put the poll in the chat. Yep. Let me put the poll in the chat for you guys. Oops.
I mean, they're all shit takes for sure. I agree, Soul Assassin. It's always just like it's a degree.
Which one's the worst? Which one's the worst? All right. So get your votes in. The poll is in the chat. Thank you for playing our ridiculous.
Which was centralized game. Was that 2? And I'm gonna say that like I'm gonna still lobby for number 2 because number 2 does the whole shit on the George Lucas era stuff in order to justify the Disney era stuff. That's my rationale.
Okay, that was really weird.
That only showed 16 votes, and it didn't show.
And then all of a sudden I end the poll and it's got 32 votes. Well, thank you everyone for voting. All right. So in last place was number 3, Sequels Rule. Sorry, you didn't get nominated this week. It is a pretty shitty take and it's very seal relevant, but unfortunately not up there enough to win this week. In second last place was number 1. So Marshal Commander Cody, with Moff Gideon being the best original villain. Okay, no problem. In the runner-up for this week, in second place, was number 4. So Star Wars Holocron, you get a runner-up this week, unfortunately. One of the greatest Star Wars stories ever told is apparently this story in Andor. And the winner of Disney Seal of the Week is Dan. Once again, good old Dan with the sequel trilogy has the same degree of separation from George Lucas as the old expanded universe does. Congratulations, Dan. You win this week's Seal of the Week.
I'm all the Jedi.